Well, here we are again, another day in this great year, 2023. A year of resurgence, a year of rehabilitation, a year of restoration. But amongst all of that, we still are faced with so much grief and loss. And so we continue to have this domino effect of people's having to regroup and re-establish and reframe. Because why? We're overcoming some loss. Of course, we have dealt with, in the past couple of weeks, grief and loss, but yet loss and grief. Realizing that one has to have a loss before one has a grief. And so it is exciting to continue this series. And we are going to come to the end. I don't want you to think we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the year. But we can take a break and come back maybe according to your own needs. And that's why I'm encouraging you to put a line in the comments, make a suggestion. What do you want me to talk about? What would you like to discuss? What do you want to hear? How are we going? What's we doing? Is it ministering to you? Is it really answering some questions? Please put something in the comments or email nationmind2021@gmail.com, and we will get back to you. We will support your future. But today I want to bring to us a little perspective in terms of how we interpret loss and how it's really sometimes it's hard to identify with the grief. You know, when we were born, and our parents were told that we did have the 10 toes and 10 fingers, and the eye, everything was normal. We were happy, and somewhere there is this plan or this expectation of a particular kind of life. There is an assumptive life that we're going to go through the years doing regular things, shots, baby shots, getting into infancy, going to that toddler age, going through preschool, primary school. Things are fine. Play, music, art, lots of things. And so family growing, more children coming, identities with relatives. And life is assumptive, I repeat, because we are assuming that this is all part. But alas, there is this instruction that comes from somewhere, or a direction that comes out of somewhere. And we have something called disruption. We have something called death, loss. Emotions are changing. But yet, when we started off, there was no such expectancy. And that's why I said we're in this assumptive world. And how do we move from this assumptive position into the reality of what is? A sickness. I just got married months after, weeks after, my spouse is diagnosed with some terminal disease, or there's a tragic accident, or I lost a child, there's a miscarriage. Those were not things that we planned. I broke a tooth, the house on fire, the car got stolen. We did not plan for these disruptions. You know, we put money down in the bank for the what? Someday, I can't remember that day. But you know, there's a day we put money in the bank for the rainy day. But that emergency, again, is not disruptive. That emergency is not negative. And so we have to realize that even though we have the rainy day thought, we are still not planning or expecting for that disruption or the interruption that skews our life, brings us to a place where we don't know how to go forward. And I think it's important for us to begin to identify as we go, how do we move into the future, knowing that there must be some disruptions, knowing that there may be a space where one day I get up and there's no ceiling because a storm came in the night, or a heavy wind, and blew off my roof. How do I manage to go forward? So we are talking about loss there, and that brings the concept of grieving. But implied there, of course, we have the issue of trauma and crisis. And whatever it is, whether it's the death of a loved one through illness, a hospital issue, a car crash, failure of exams, it is trauma. And sort of we are jerked, we are pushed it like, wow, where did this come from? And everything turns around right there. Everything. Time seems to be different. Because now I have to find a means of doing things differently. Mobility. I would have not lost mobility in the first instance, but I eventually lose mobility because now, having fallen down or having had a loss of a friend who was my support, I now either have to give more time or less time. Social life changes. I don't go out anymore. I don't do things anymore because my friend is not here. I am not available anymore. I can't work it anymore. I lost my job. Less money. So do you see that we can layer these things as we go along and realize that the initial loss is far different from the continuous, what we call insidious losses as we continue to go on. Because those losses are real. Time, as I repeat myself, time, space, social life, activities. We stop exercising, we stop eating. There's a lot of other issues that continually pop up as we go along. So it's from one crisis to the other. It's from one issue to the other. How am I working out this? I have a plan A. Get up, bathroom, kitchen, dress, out, work, come back home. Plan A. So that I am not expecting anything that is going to skew this. So that when it happens, I'm thrown. How do I prevent the throne? I can't. But how do I help myself in terms of realizing how I can come back into that place we talked about 2 weeks ago, resilience? So it's important for me to see, yes, I can be resilient, but how do I come into that resilience without being so affected because I forgot that life is not as assumptive as I thought it was? How do I continue to breathe? So, I know I've been asking questions, and you are saying, Dr. Niles, do I have the answers? So let's slow down a bit here. Let's take it slow. No cornflakes. Or no bread. Crisis. Why is it a crisis? Because no cornflakes, no bread slows me down with breakfast, which means I'm going to be leaving the house later, which means I'm going to have an increased amount of traffic, which means I am going to be late for work. So it's not just about the no cornflakes or no bread. It's about all that I begin to envisage in my timelines about where I'm going and how it's not going to happen. So I can decide. I could do without the cornflakes. I could do without bread. I could go in my car or get out of the house and get to work early and then find bread or cornflakes. That's an option. That option is fine. That option keeps me with a motive or objective of reaching early. And I'm happy with that. But somewhere along the line, my stomach is affected because I did not have breakfast. Scenario number 2. I'm going to work. After work, right on time, according to plan. My tire gets off. I have to stop to change the tire. Crisis. Because that word again, LATE, late for work, or missing a particular timeline that will encourage me to be in more. How am I working this out? So I huff and puff, and there's a build-up of anxiety, and there's a build-up of all kind of negative emotion, but because I can't get out of this. But I can park the car up, flag a taxi now, or a bus or get a drop or somebody else, leave the car there, go to work and come back in the afternoon. And I take my time. Option. But do I want that? Oh, if I leave the car here, it can be tampered with. I may come back and not find it. Wow. Another issue again of negative issues. Okay. Number 3. I leave home. I'm planning that after work, I'm going to exercise. But somewhere in the afternoon, I get the news. My house is on fire. Fire. Wow. Yes, your house is on fire. Wow. That changes my whole evening. No exercise. I am running out of the office. Panic. I may forget my handbag or forget my bag, or I forget something. I have to run back. Hey, what's going on here? I am madly trying to dash to my house to see what I can save. Call the fire. Call the fire. Call the police. Oh gosh, my head's spinning. Help. What's happened to you by the end of the evening? Well, let's say it wasn't so bad, but yet I'm now displaced. Where am I going to sleep tonight? How am I going to get dressed tomorrow morning? When am I going to go back to work? What's probably house is burnt? The kitchen or appliances? The bedroom? Furniture. The living room? More furniture. What's going to happen to me? I am beginning to see despair now. Can I change that? Well, I can say, all right. Police has been handed out the fire department will get a report while I find a place to sleep, whether it's my relative or I rent somewhere for the night. And I wait until I get all the facts and then I proceed. Or I can behave horrendously excited, anxious, cuss, and don't get any sleep. And everybody's discovered because I do not know what's happening. These scenarios are real. They're not just living. They happen every day, somewhere in the world. But we have to realize that we have to maintain a particular dimension of our psyche, of our deportment, of our behavior, in order to continue. I could deny it's happening. No, this is not happening. No. I can be angry, but that is not going to help me. I can say, what if? Why didn't? Why is this happening to me? But, excuse me, it has happened. I might accept it and immediately find a place for resilience. But I need help. I need somebody to talk to. Yes, you need somebody to understand you, to validate you. You need some comfort. But more so, we need to begin to help you tell a story. What is your story? You know, you will say, Dr. Ness, what story? Yes, you have a story. And that's something we miss sometimes as a therapist. The affected person who is traumatized does have a story in their head. And what we have to do is to let you write that story or tell that story. Have you sat down to say exactly what you feel, what it means to you, how it happens to you? Have you really been able to be honest about all the expressions of your emotions? And that is so important, that we need to be able to have our story told, but more so, have our story heard. Who wants to tell a story? Oh, no. Who wants to go over that again? I don't want to go down that road again. No, you have to. You see, you didn't have time to process the story. You were battered with the fear of bread and cornflakes, being late. you're pressed about the tire, you're pressed about a fire, the confusion of displacement, etc. But have you been able to sit down and consciously say how you feel? Share your emotions. And that's something I want to encourage you to do as of today. Whenever there's a trauma, find time after to sit down and find somebody to listen to you and share exactly how you feel. Share exactly what has hit you, how you are able to handle. Share exactly how you are able to identify with what's happening with you. Share that. So we want to be able to maybe ask the questions and get the answers. And sometimes we have both. But if we do not take time to just tell the story, we will never be able to intelligently rationalize the entire event and conclude arguments, helps us to accept. What could be my story? Well, I can tell you my personal story. I was really trying to get to this appointment early, and I had this flat tire. So I felt that I was going to be labeled or I was late. Here you go again. Nobody would take time to ask me why I reached late, but I was going to have to answer questions about being late and then just have to justify myself. It was not me, it was the tire. And then I had to realize that the money I have in my pocket, it wasn't supposed to be buying tires. And I really felt trapped that where am I going to get this money to buy this tire when I didn't budget for it? Wow, another trauma. And so my story was that I was harboring a lot of ifs and realizing that there are a lot of loopholes in terms of how was I going to repair, where was I going to carry the car, how much time I was going to have lost, who was going to boof me, who was going to talk me bad about being late. I didn't seem to be able to find a space where I can really justify what I did. But I had to learn that I did not need to justify why or what. I just need to share my emotions about how I felt disappointed. I should have checked the tire. I should have seen that. Did I feel the wheel wobbling and I didn't take it on? You know, there's so many things could go down your way, but all that is part of the story, because all those things are affecting your emotions, even with the house. I haven't had a house burned down, but when you have something as serious as that, you may wonder, did I leave a light on? Was the kitchen on? Was a plug on? Did something happen? Who lost? And those things need to be talked out because they are impacting your very emotions and how you feel. So I want you today to begin to construct that story and to see how we do not live in an assumptive world. We want to, we expect it, but things do not happen the way we expect to go through life. Ooh, as like a breezo. We are here, yes, to have a breezo. But next thing you know, the breeze cut a branch, break a branch, and the branch fall. That's the end of the broadcast. You know, and then I hold myself because I didn't expect it to happen. But all of a sudden, the temperature changes, the cloud changes, and next thing, rain. Wow! People out there, let's begin to guard our hearts. Know that each day we have to take it one step at a time. As we engage from situation to situation, as we engage from one plan to the other, we have some kind of euphoria in terms of how we see things. Nice, woo! But the traffic light gets red before it gets green, or does it get green before it gets red? But whatever, there's going to be a stop. There's going to be a white line. How do we react and respond and bring us success? I want to encourage you to really define how we're going forward. And in the next broadcast, we'll talk a little more about how we can, after writing the story, deconstruct it. So let's see how we can go forward, and let's see how we can really be much more energized to face the next day. So, Dr. Nash saying goodbye. Not for now, just for now. See you next week as we continue to understand that life is not assumptive as we think it is, but there is some progression as we live our stories and bring to place can affect happiness day by day.